Hello and welcome to GMBN Tech. Coming up on the show this week, we do some bike checks from Red Bull Rampage and we talk about that surprise return of the 26-inch wheel. And also in the news, I will explain what KIS is and how that little invention from Cintas is changing the steering of Canyon mountain bikes. In the meantime, do give us a thumbs up and like and subscribe if you are new to the channel. So Dottie has left me on my own this week. He has flown abroad and he's doing something really interesting. So if you follow him on social media, see if you can work out what he's doing for the channel coming up. But in the meantime, Red Bull Rampage happened, if you didn't know. So obviously we're nerds here, so we're not going to talk tricks or lines. We're going to talk bike tech. So I had a look at the 18 riders bikes and there's been some unusual changes over the years. Now, out of the 18 riders, 100% of them are on flats. That's not a big surprise. Most of them were on tubes. I'm presuming this is kind of a safety measure for taking hard corners, landing tricks, and just generally no fear of blowing a tire off the rim on hard jump landings, for example. What was interesting is most of them are running air these days. Possibly it's easier to play around with on the weekend. Maybe it's more progressive, but it is a far cry from 21 years ago when we were seeing 200mm coil bikes and monster T's on Rampage. But what's really got the free riders debating is the fact that 4 people were on single crown suspension forks, so not dual crown like these guys up here, or triple clamp if that's what you call it. They were just on normal single crown forks. I suspect this is because a lot of points are being awarded to bar spins, so if you don't have that, then are you missing out on points? And I guess the debate is, how do you mark people equally when they're on dual crown and single crown? Can you? Is Rampage changing? I don't know. That's not a debate for today. Let's get back to the tech, because the breaking news was 50% of the field, so that's split in 18 riders, 9 of them were choosing 27.5-inch front and rear, and 9 of them were choosing a 26-inch rear wheel with a 27.5 up front. This is mini mullet style. Is this a new standard coming through? Just when the industry were getting used to 27.5 and 29, bam, we've gone back to 26. So I'm guessing a lot of the viewers here, you know, I've read the comments over many months and I know that you guys love 26. So what do you think about this coming back? Is this just a fad? Is this just a free ride thing? Or, you know, are we going to start seeing this on the market? If we check out Brett Rheeder's winning bike, so check this out on screen right now. Now, his Commencal FRS, he's one of 4 to be running coil in the rear there, one of 3 to have the single crown fork, so it's bar spin compatible, arguably, and one of 6 to be running single speed in the rear with that tensioner. And if you notice, he's got a rather shiny linkage there, and that looks to be a specific CNC machined link, probably a custom, so he can run that 26-inch wheel in the back. And if you've noticed, it doesn't quite, that rear triangle, the rear chainstays don't quite look like a normal Commencal FRS. And if you zoom in, you will see that there is a flip chip in that rear axle. So the position of that would suggest that he is able to now shorten his chainstays. So if we look at Andreu Lacondeguy, also on a Commencal FRS, this lovely rainbow glitter, also has that flip chip in the rear, running 26-inch rear wheel. And it's made me think, are these guys choosing 26 so that they can run shorter chainstays, or is that flip chip in there to shorten the chainstays to accommodate the 26-inch wheel? It's kind of a chicken and egg debate going on in my head here, which came first. I'm not a dirt jumper, I'm not a free rider, I will admit. So if there's anybody out there who is, let me know down in the comments below. Why are they choosing this mini mullet style? And is this something we should be seeing? Is Commencal about to bring out something, or is this just a little tune-up just for their pro riders? I don't know, I think it's debatable. Also running the Commencal FRS was Kyle Straight, arguably the granddaddy of Rampage. I'm pretty sure he's been to absolutely every Rampage in the calendar since 2001, where he was a very young teenager competing. And check his bike out on here. This is probably one of my favorites with the dive bar dream paint job. He's got some of that woodwork paint job in the back, and then these kind of cowboy neon signs on the top tube. Looks really cool. Being the granddaddy, I guess he's running it pretty purist here. He's got gears, he's got triple clamp forks. Check out those RockShox, does say black box on it, so he's testing some new boxes potentially. Also some prototype Kenders, so one to watch with new products coming out. And then just as a matter of coolness, let's look at some other paint jobs, because frankly, Rampage is like the World Championships of freeride. The custom paintwork in these bikes in the desert were just unbelievable. It looked like a custom show out in the desert. So check out William Roberts' Norco Shore. It was a park edition. He had the #1 plate, and he had this kind of marble effect just to echo the streets and the buildings of his hometown. Running Suntour Rux forks, a bit unusual there, and then 27.5 Mavic D-Max. And then Simon Godziek's NS Fuzz, oh my days, this has to be one of my favorites. I could take this home now. You've got all of the colors on here. You've got Hope and Industry 9 obviously lending itself nicely to having color all over the bike, not to mention that reverse single speed conversion in the rear there, and even a bit of color coming through with that Tubolito in the back wheel, just letting us know that he's running inner tubes there. And then some of our office favorites were from YT. There was 2 YT 2S's at Rampage. We had Ethan Nell's leopard print 2S, opting for the standard triple clamp forks there, and then fellow YT rider Dylan Stark on the Zebra 2S, just running a normal single crown 190 RockShox Zeb. What's that all about? It's effectively like a super enduro bike. Times have obviously changed. And then speaking of time, we've got Tyler McCaul with his GT Fury. Check this out. All you vintage lovers will love this. It's based on a 93 Mach 1 GT BMX, and also painted up with some Marzocchi Monster T looking forks on the front there. Basically, Tyler said he just wanted a paint job that replicated all of the cool stuff that he wanted as a kid. So he finally got it. And this is marking his 10th year at Rampage. And yeah, you know, it's been going for a while. But let me know. Times are really changing. You know, we're even seeing enduro bikes. So I forgot to mention, we've got Kurt Sorgi on his Evil Insurgent, which is effectively a 27.5 enduro bike with triple clamp forks. But check out that paint job. Is that not the nicest paint job you've ever seen, with his little beach life spray up there? And then Thomas Gannon, who was on a Canyon Torque, not a Sender. That was interesting to see as well. Definitely sign of changing times. But again, let me know down in the comments below, what do you think? Is Rampage changing? The bike's having to catch up with the scoring system? And what do you think of 26 with 27.5 in the front, mini mullet style, mini mixed wheels? Is this a good thing? Would you buy it? A Commencal prototyping something coming to the future? Who knows? Okay, so time for the news, and the big one for me is a new steering technology. Who thought we were going to get tech in steering, but we have. So Joe Kleber over at Cintas has invented something, and Canyon have jumped right on board and brought out a brand new model dedicated to this invention. So check this out on screen. This KIS, which means keep it stable, basically. So you're looking at the Spectral CF8 Collective KIS if you want that technology. And basically it's a spring mechanism inside the top tube that connects a cam ring on the fork steerer tube. So as you turn, it'll effectively load the spring and give a bit of resistance. Now, I think the basis of this is that if you are descending on anything tech or really rough or twitchy, then that bit of resistance gives you a little bit of stability. Also, I think it would probably be really good for tech climbs because you won't get that easy wheel flop either. So this is really interesting. Now, they say it only adds 110 grams. I don't yet know how much it adds to the price. They're only putting it out on one model at the time, and I don't have prices for it. But Cintas will be eventually launching this on other bikes. I've heard that Lightville will be taking on a couple of models too. So really interesting. I'm pretty sure this isn't the first time we've seen this sort of tech. And if Doddy was here, he'd probably tell me what year and what model we've seen it on, but I don't know. Guys, if you know, let me down in the comments below. We'll chat about it next week when Doddy is back. And then moving over to McCaul, they are expanding their Project Green, which was started with the punk powder, in which case you can use powder, add it with water, less packaging for their pink cleaning product. And now they have refills on lubes as well. So check this out. They are now doing refills for the wet weather lube, the dry weather lube, the C3 ceramic wet lube, and the C3 dry lube. Basically, bigger, cheaper, more environmentally friendly is the strap line. Now, each bottle is 6 times the size of a regular lube bottle, but obviously it would be 43% less packaging by coming in this bottle instead of 6 individual ones. And also, this will give you a cost saving of around 45% for the normal wet and dry lube, and about 63% for the C3. So that's a pretty good saving, almost half on there, just by refilling. And yeah, I guess it's smaller, lighter to ship, which means that they get to reduce their CO2 impact as well. So that is, yeah, hats off to McCaul for continually inventing new ways to refresh that project. And then not new to the market, but new to the helmet market is Abbas. So you might know this brand from locks. We've certainly done them in the past. Doddy's used them in the past in videos. And now they've brought out the new helmet called the Cliffhanger. So check this out on screen. It'll be in sizes small, medium, and large, which will cover 41 centimeters to 61 centimeters. A medium will weigh 380 grams, adding 30 grams for the MIPS models. And you get 6 colors to choose from, 3 of which will be for MIPS, 3 for the normal. And then recommended retail price on that would be $199, or 1 penny short of $200 for the MIPS edition, which I think is a pretty reasonable price. And it looks pretty simple and sleek and understated. So yeah, that's interesting for sure. And then finally, not huge news, because they're not new, but both Zeroed and Privateer bikes have started stocking in Europe. Neither of which are new. Zeroed arguably invented the high pivot with their earlier gearbox bikes. They're not with high pivot anymore, but they are sticking with that gearbox bike. So if you're interested in pinion and carbon belt drives, then these guys are for you. Check them out. They're like pretty normal looking, if I don't want to insult the gearbox market, but they are pretty normal looking enduro Enduro bikes and I hear really good things about them. Also Privateer, not new, we've seen them in EWS. They are heralded by Doddy, who often calls them a budget superbike brand, sticking with the aluminium and decent specs to go with it. So they're now in Europe too. So do check those out. And yeah, what more can I say? That's the news. Okay, I guess it's pub quiz time without the pub. So here's your first question. When did Red Bull Rampage start? I did give you that answer earlier if you were paying attention. Second question is, who was the first ever Rampage winner? Clue here, it's called the godfather of freeride. And then one of my favourite riders, Kyle Straight, sadly crashed out this year, but he has finished every single event since it started, bar one in 2003. He was also the first to pull a no-hander in 2004, taking first of 2 wins. That's how legendary Kyle Straight is. But how old was he at the first ever Rampage? Answers coming up a bit later. Okay, it's comments time from you lovely people. And last week, me and Steve Jones were debating Fox versus RockShox. Although Steve did, you know, bring in some other brands, quite rightly so. And so did you guys. You guys absolutely love the other brands too. It wasn't just all about RockShox and Fox for you. So thank you for bringing that to my attention. Alex Guyver says, of the two, I'd have to say RockShox, even though I've owned both. Regarding servicing, RockShox, on the other hand, have all manuals and parts listed on the SRAM website. And now I know this is something a lot of people say, you can service RockShox or you can't with Fox. You can with Fox. You know, I've done a servicing video on my forks and my rear suspension recently. It's just that some models are a little bit difficult to play with, and also their manuals are really hard to find. My big advice is to Google service manual or user guide and then your model, and you will find the service manual for that model. Moving on to Jane Blogs, who says, they did their best to not say Marzocchi. I didn't mean to, honestly, I didn't. You know, we don't rehearse these shows. I forgot to mention them. But Jane, just you wait, because Doddy has had a Marzocchi box on his desk for a while now. He's getting up to something, which you'll see in the next few weeks, so stay tuned. And then another Jane by the name of Jane Flakes here. I had a set of RockShox GDXCs back in the late 90s. I rode them on my steel hardtail for 3 months, and then the damper popped, peeing oil all over my kitchen floor. Ouch. I binned them and swapped them to Bombers, and the pair of Bombers are still running to this day. Yeah, Bomber by name, Bomber, bomb-proof by nature. I think I rode that GT Zaska for GMBN recently, and those forks were still good. And I think that was 2000, mid-2000s. Larry Megugorek, just got a brand new set of Cane Creek Helms Mark II 160mm forks to go all with my new Cane Creek DBL Air Shock. Yeah, fair play. My Kotick Flare had a Cane Creek DB Air on the rear. Yeah, genuinely a good shock. So yeah, nothing bad to say about Cane Creek. Tim Sadler, one of our regulars, I've ridden a healthy mix of RockShox, Fox and Marzocchi. My current favourite is, my current factory 38 is easily the best I've ridden to date. Don't ask me how it works, it just does. Yeah, I'm with you on that. Factory 38s are my favourite so far. John Olin said, DVO Onyx SC D1, very underrated fork that I have absolutely loved. Yeah, I don't know anyone's got a bad word to say about DVO. I've never ridden them on the trail. I have nicked Ryan Rodriguez's bike when I was at a stage race in Costa Rica, and I rode it around the campsite, and it was just the most butteriest Santa Cruz I've ever ridden. Yeah, and he had DVO front and rear. It was delightful. So I would love to give that a go, and I think you're probably right. Anthony James says, I choose Manitou. I love Fox, but after riding Manitou, I love the feel, the lighter weight and the stiffness. Yeah, fair play to you. They look like nice forks. Oliver Atkinson, finally here, says, I've never ridden Fox fork, but I have ridden RockShox, and I have to say, I replaced it with a Pace RC36 Stealth. It was the best decision I ever made. Oh, nice one, Oliver. It's always nice to see niche brands, or more lower end, well, not lower end, but independent brands getting used. And yeah, Pace have been around for a while, and they're beautiful, so fair play to you. Okay, it's rewind time, and I thought I'd go, you know, Rampage special. So this bike is almost as old as Rampage itself, so check this out. This has come from Connor, who's been thrashing his 2002 Rocky Mountain RM7 FR, the freeride edition, in his bike park in Ipswich, UK. He's just finished rebuilding the set of original Marzocchi Shivers, which had not been serviced since 2002. Oof. He took it to the local bike park and gave it a good bashing. Fair play to you, Connor. You know, it still looks good, it still looks legit. I don't think I'd notice that that is, you know, a 20-year-old bike. If I glanced at it sideways, that, you know, fair play to you for still riding it, and you look like you can handle a bike too, so well done. Okay, time for those quiz answers. When did Red Bull Rampage start? Well, it was 2001, it's 21 years old. Blimmin' heck. Who was the first ever Rampage winner? Well, it was Wade Simmons, often referred to as the godfather of freeriding. And then Kyle Strait, who sadly crashed this year, but has been to pretty much every single Red Bull Rampage, including the first one in 2001. How old was he? He was 14 years old. Can you believe that? I can't even comprehend that. Yeah, fair play, Kyle. I don't know if maybe he should have the Godfather title. Anyway, I'm not gonna start that debate. But before I go, I just wanna say, stay tuned this weekend, because we've got some Halloween specials on Saturday and Sunday. Doddy is doing something on a very, very scary bike on Sunday, and I'm doing something with this and this. Oh, bear with me. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of my size, isn't it? Proportional chainstays? I don't know. Anyway, thanks for watching.